Hello you guys, you're watching this video because you wanted to know what are we going to study in this pre-branch course. The reason is that you have already finished root, which is the course 2. But right now you feel a little bit unready for branch because branch focuses on analyzing news, which is, I think, is a top knowledge or actually something really difficult. And so to review what we have learned and apply the theory that we learned before into practice, this course is for you in 1 month. And so I would like you to look right here. This is for your English fluency journey, which means that you want to speak, just speak. And we do different things in different weeks. Each week, one thing. But with the purpose of making our fluency in English, in the speaking, we can flow when we speak. We don't have to think too much when we say every sentence. And this is to prepare for our journey branch. And this now is a schedule. My name is Trang Teresa, the founder of English Tree Method. Okay, let's start from the main content. If you have the background of 3 things, number 1 is your pronunciation you have learned from course 1, or either you have a clear pronunciation already. This is a very big plus. Number 2, if you have a good grammar, we have learned a couple of main points, basic points of grammar from course 2. And also, if you could listen and write down almost about 70% of the file as you listen in, during the whole 2 courses that we learned of seed and root. And also, if you can understand about 80% of what I'm saying right now, then I think you are very ready for this course. Now, the schedule of this course is that, in this month, we would have 4 weeks of the 4 parts. And I bet that you remember, speaking. If you want to speak well, firstly, it has to come from idea. And then once you have a couple of ideas in your mind, you have to put vocabulary to name those ideas. Put them together, arrange them in a sentence, it is grammar, and then you say them out, which is pronunciation, and if you have the good speed, and that is a big plus. Okay, so let's see. We have 4 weeks, and I would put the focus of every week. Week 1 for ideas, week 2 for vocabulary, week 3 for grammar, week 4 for pronunciation. And during these 4 weeks, we always try to speed up whenever we can. Now, let's move on to week 1. In week 1, we have 3 lessons that we learn in Zoom classes. And at the end of every week, also in week 1, including week 1, we have a test. Okay, so lesson number 1, we would learn some Q&A, which is question and answer. Question and answer. What is your best trait? Why do you have this trait? How long did you have this trait for? Did you have it when you were born, or did you have to practice to have this trait with you? So, from simple to complicated sentences, question. So, firstly, you need to understand what does the question really want to ask you, and try to understand and then try to respond to that correctly. Because if you understand it incorrectly, you answer with a funny answer, right? You answer funnily. And so, how do you ask? Because you usually learn how to answer, but to put the question in the right grammar style, it is not easy at all. Now, after you can practice with Q&A, question and answer, lesson 2, we would move on to the mind map, but with only 2 branches. So when you hear a question, you would try to answer with 2 points. So what is your best trait? My best trait is optimism because reason 1. And because reason 2. So this is the 2-branch mind map, which is like very simple mind map that could help you to lengthen and make your answer more informative. Okay, lesson 3 is the data. Data, as you remember before, D is definition, A is aim, T is trait, and A is advantages and disadvantages. So whenever you want to answer something about water, about paper, or about notebook, whatever item, person, things, place, time, action, anything that you want to give more information, you need those steps. And so I would like to give you all the structures that talk about definition, traits, advantages, disadvantages, and solutions, so that you have the form of a sentence, so that you can put just a couple of more words and you would have a very informative sentence already. At the end of the week will be the week test. So the test of week number 1 is the Zoom video in which this is a pair or a couple test. It's not only you have to do it, but you can do this with your friend. I hope that this is pretty clear for the first week. The second, third, and fourth week is kind of similar to this. Let's see. Let's see more focused on the week test of week number 1. This is the Zoom video between 2 people. So you have to demonstrate how to ask and answer questions. And the criteria for you to be able to pass this week, and you can say like, I passed this week, I've done it, I focused on it, is that number 1, there's 3 criteria. Number 1 is the question has to be clear. The one that answer the question can understand what your question really means. Number 2, the answer has to have at least 2 ideas or 2 opinions or 2 reasons. Well, this is for the mind map 2 branch that you can apply the theory of this, right? And then each person has to have at least 5 pair of questions and answers. So you have to try in 2 minutes to work really hard. Okay, this is a little bit of the example. I hope that when you have time, you would go over this. Now let's go for week 2. In week 2, you focus on vocabulary. Lesson 4, so also 3 lessons, and the week test at the end of the week. Now this is test 2. Okay. Now, so in order to have more vocabulary, lesson 4 is to build your list. So I would help you how to build your vocabulary list, and we focus on housing and food, which is a review of the root course, right? And in lesson 5, we continue to have Q&A, but then to really make this list become alive in your answer. Lesson 6 is also about mind map, but this time it's not only just two branches, but now it becomes like as many branches as you want. It is as far as your ability can go. And at the end, it will be the individual Zoom video that you have to give to me. This will be the test. Now, let's talk about this test of the end of week 2. The topic is something and me. So you have to record yourself in a Zoom video and give me the link of this video. And the topic is something and me. It could be items, water and me. Hello, my name is Trang Teresa and I love water. Instead of drinking Coca-Cola, Pepsi or other soft drinks, I choose water, which is really good for my health. Sometimes it's a little bit tasteless, but I can drink it forever without worrying about my health. So how do you maintain and make your talk longer like this? This is the matter of mind map, and you have to have a list of vocabulary, and you just follow that list. That's how you can try to lengthen your speed. Now the criteria to pass this week is 3 criteria. Number 1, your video has to have at least 10 phrases of vocabulary about yourself. So you have to have at least 2 reasons for your topic, something and me, and then you would prepare a set of slides and you would talk during this, okay? I hope that you can do it well. Now week 3 is about grammar. So lesson 7, we talk about 10 golden rules about grammar. And this comes from you, it's not from me, because my rules might be different from yours. My problems might be different from yours. So you have to build your own 10 rules. But I would help you. I would listen to your sentence and I realize, oh yeah, you usually have problem with this one. So I would take it out and I would call what is this mistake and how can you make it a rule so that next time you don't forget it. Now, lesson 8 is how to use these Grammarly, Grammar Check, and Google Translate effectively, so that you can, rely on those IT in order to speak better. Now, the topics of this week is my jobs and different jobs around the world. Lesson number 9 is only Q&A. Short and long questions and answers. And finally, also the test at the end of the week. You will do it by yourself and send it to me through Zoom video. And here is some criteria for the test. Okay. Now, when week 4 comes, this is the time that you wrap up your course and you would focus on pronunciation so that your speech sound more natural. Because now you have, grammar and vocabulary and ideas in your head already. So lesson 10 is also just short Q&A, and we focus on the hot news in the week. And when we ask each other and we answer for each other about these news that you heard during the week, you focus on the pronunciation, on the stress, syllables, and intonation. Have you heard that news? Oh yeah, this is really terrible. Oh really? Yeah, so those are the sentences that we have, intonation that could be correct for short Q&A when we talk about news. Lesson 11 is also Q&A, but about data. And now this time we learn more about linking words, conjunctions, and how to stress on the important information in a sentence. Lesson 12 is review, and we have a final test. So the final test, if you can't talk to someone who is a foreign friend with you, if you don't have one, then Zoom video is okay. But if you have one friend like this, then this is the best. Okay, thank you. And I hope that you feel very excited, me too, about this course, and let's do it best.